Welcome to this explainer. Okay, I am absolutely thrilled to guide you through what is literally shaping up to be the ultimate game changer for modern real estate investing in 2026. We are talking about a massive, fundamental shift in how we build wealth. We're moving from this deeply traditional kind of exclusionary system right into the fast-paced, super accessible world of the blockchain. But before we even touch the tech side of things, I have a quick question for you. How exactly do you buy a 1 crore rupee building for just 10,000 rupees? I mean, we all know the massive pain point of traditional real estate, right? It demands seriously deep pockets. You save up for years, you cross your fingers hoping for a huge loan approval, or you're forced to partner up with wealthy co-investors. But what if that entire narrative was just completely flipped on its head? Well, let's dive into this and see exactly how that's possible. Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. First, what is property tokenization? Then, the 6-step tokenization process. After that, key benefits for investors, followed by navigating Indian real estate law, and finally, risks and the future. All right, jumping right into section 1. What is property tokenization? Redefining real estate ownership. Let's see how blockchain technology is completely rewriting the rules from the ground up. So simply put, property tokenization is the process of converting the value or the actual ownership rights of a physical property into digital tokens on a blockchain. And each token represents a small, fractional share of that property. Think about it exactly like trading shares of a company on the stock market, but instead of owning a tiny piece of a tech startup, you're holding digital tokens that represent a fraction of a commercial office, maybe a massive warehouse, or even a luxury apartment. Pretty cool, right? Let's actually go back to that 1 crore rupee building we talked about at the very beginning. To put it in perspective, instead of waiting around for one mega-rich buyer to purchase the whole thing, the owner essentially slices the building up. They divide the asset into 10,000 digital tokens. Now, if each token costs exactly 10,000 rupees, suddenly 10,000 different everyday investors can co-own a premium asset. It fundamentally democratizes who actually gets a seat at the real estate table. The contrast between the old way of doing things and this new approach is just massive. I mean, look at traditional real estate. It requires high upfront capital, it's notoriously illiquid, and you absolutely drown in lengthy paperwork and bureaucratic hurdles. Tokenized real estate, on the flip side, it offers an incredibly low entry barrier. Plus, you get fast secondary market trading, meaning you aren't locked in for decades. And to top it all off, every single transaction is a secure, tamper-proof digital record right there on the blockchain. So how exactly does a physical brick-and-mortar building become a digital asset? Let's move to section 2, the 6-step tokenization process, from brick-and-mortar to blockchain. Let's walk through this process, starting with the physical and legal foundation. Step 1 is selecting the property. Now, we're usually talking about income-generating assets here, commercial buildings or rental apartments that offer a really steady yield. Step 2 is absolutely crucial, creating the legal structure. The property is placed inside what's called a special purpose vehicle, or an SPV. This SPV is what actually holds the legal title. Then step 3 is rigorous valuation and due diligence. Professional teams come in, they confirm the property's true worth, check for any legal encumbrances, and verify the titles just to make sure future investors are completely protected from any hidden liabilities. Okay, once that meticulous legal groundwork is finally laid, the tech completely takes over. Step 4 is token creation. This is where digital tokens representing those fractional shares of the SPV are actually minted on a blockchain. Step 5 is listing those newly minted tokens on a compliant digital marketplace, meaning investors can easily buy them through a simple app on their phone. And finally, step 6 is ongoing management and trading. This allows investors to buy and sell their tokens on a secondary market, all while that underlying physical property continues to appreciate and generate rent. Now, the really incredible part is how this ongoing management actually operates, and it's all through smart contracts. These are basically automated programs running in the background on the blockchain. Think of a smart contract kind of like a giant digital vending machine for real estate. You put in your token, and boom, your monthly rent automatically drops right into your digital wallet. Instead of a property manager sitting there manually crunching numbers in a spreadsheet, the smart contract does it all. It automatically calculates the rental income, deducts the necessary maintenance fees, and distributes the remaining profits directly to the token holders based on their exact ownership percentage. It literally eliminates manual paperwork and human error. It's a total game changer. That level of automation is fantastic, for sure. But let's pivot to the larger value proposition here. Section 3, key benefits for investors. Let's look at why adding tokens to your portfolio actually makes sense. The advantages here completely flip the script on traditional real estate. First up, you get fractional ownership of premium assets. Think luxury hotels or high-end commercial spaces, stuff that was previously reserved solely for big institutional buyers. Second, you have dramatically lower entry barriers. We're talking sometimes just a few thousand rupees to get started. Third, you get greater liquidity via secondary markets. If you want out, you can sell your tokens in minutes, not months. Fourth, you get that automated passive income distribution we just talked about. Fifth, because you're bypassing multiple lawyers and brokers, you get significantly reduced intermediary transaction costs. And lastly, it's truly borderless. An investor sitting in Mumbai can seamlessly invest in a tokenized warehouse over in London. How wild is that? I absolutely love this quote from our source material because it just perfectly summarizes the power of what we're looking at here. It says, an investor who previously could only afford one small flat can now spread the same money across 5 or 6 different properties in different cities. Just think about what that does for your risk profile. Tokenization effortlessly unlocks massive portfolio diversification for everyday investors. But of course, we do need to bring this excitement back down to reality for a second. Let's look at Section 4, Navigating Indian Real Estate Law, specifically RERA, SEBI, and FEMA. So, as of right now, India doesn't actually have a single dedicated law just for property tokenization. Instead, you kind of have to navigate an overlapping matrix of existing frameworks. RERA still governs the actual physical property, so any tokenized project absolutely has to comply with RERA registrations and disclosures. Then SEBI steps in because these tokens often resemble financial securities. If a platform is pooling money, it might fall under collective investment scheme rules or the new SMRAIT regulations. And finally, if foreign investors or NRIs are in the mix, FEMA regulates the cross-border flow of funds to make sure everything is foreign exchange compliant. To actually make this complex legal web work, platforms use a very specific structure. And as an investor, you really need to grasp this part. Token holders technically own a share in a special purpose vehicle, an SPV, which is usually a private limited company or an LLP. You're not actually holding the physical property deed itself. The SPV owns the real estate, and your token represents a share in that SPV. This right here is the vital legal chain of custody. It ensures compliance with Indian corporate law while also keeping SEBI and RERA completely satisfied. All right, which brings us to our final section, Section 5, Risks and the Future. It is time for a reality check before you go diving in. We have to neutrally outline the serious risks here because, well, they are very real. First up, regulatory uncertainty. These laws are still evolving, which can definitely create complications down the road. Second, while secondary markets do exist, liquidity is absolutely not guaranteed. If there's no buyer for your specific token on a Tuesday afternoon, you can't just sell it instantly. Third, we have technology risks. Smart contracts can have coding vulnerabilities or, worse, be subject to hacks. Fourth, property valuation practices can sometimes be a bit inconsistent across different platforms. And finally, that SPV custody chain we just broke down, it is legally complex. So if you are going to participate, you absolutely must verify the platform's RIA numbers, look for independent smart contract security audits, and for sure, start small just to test the waters. Look, the global momentum behind this tech is undeniable. From the UAE to Europe to right here in India, we are witnessing a massive structural shift in how real estate investment actually functions. Which leaves us with one final provocative question for you to ponder. As real estate inevitably moves from physical deeds and heavy paperwork into the world of accessible, tradable digital tokens, is your portfolio ready for the blockchain era? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to keep digging into this fascinating space.